A ruthless boss facing deportation suddenly announces she's marrying her terrified assistant,
We're getting married.
and he has no idea what's happening. But just hours earlier, their day had started like any other nightmare at the office. One morning, Andrew hurries to the office, determined to arrive before his boss. Across town, Margaret prepares for work. She's the chief editor at a Boston publishing firm, feared by her staff for her ruthless perfectionism. Employees whisper insults behind her back, too intimidated to confront her openly. When she steps in, Andrew is already waiting and escorts her to the marketing department, where she instantly fires Bob over a minor oversight.
I'm letting you go.
He forgot to call an author. To Margaret, even small mistakes are unforgivable. Back in her office, she orders Andrew to report to work the next day, even though it's Sunday. Andrew protests, explaining he's supposed to fly to Alaska for his grandmother's 90th birthday, but Margaret coldly warns that refusing could cost him his job. Soon after, she's summoned by her supervisor and receives devastating news. Her visa extension has been denied. Margaret, originally from Canada, has violated immigration rules by traveling when she wasn't allowed to,
Your visa application has been denied.
obsessively overseeing her project in person because she doesn't trust anyone else to handle it. Now she faces deportation, termination, and the humiliating possibility that Bob, the man she just fired, could replace her. In the middle of the tense meeting, Andrew walks in. Desperate, Margaret blurts out that she and Andrew are about to get married.
We're getting married.
According to immigration policy, marrying a U.S. citizen would fast-track her path to citizenship. Andrew is stunned but realizes he's cornered and chooses to stay silent, backing her story.
Can't fight a love like ours.
Their boss accepts the explanation and urges them to file the marriage paperwork immediately, believing the issue can be resolved within seconds. If you're enjoying the story so far, don't forget to like the video. News of the engagement spreads through the office, shocking everyone.
For real.
Alone, Andrew demands answers, and Margaret admits the marriage is a visa-saving scheme. She plans a quick divorce once her status is safe and pressures him by warning that if she's deported, Bob will replace her and likely fire Andrew too.
Bob is gonna fire you the second I'm gone.
After work, they rush to immigration, where an officer warns that mixed citizenship marriages are heavily investigated, and lying could mean deportation for Margaret and prison or a huge fine for Andrew. To convince him, Margaret claims they've been dating and are visiting Andrew's family for his grandmother's birthday. The officer accepts it but promises close supervision.
I dig deeper. I look at your phone records.
Outside, Margaret treats the fake relationship like a project and starts laying out rules for the month. Feeling used and frightened by the risk, Andrew agrees only under 3 conditions. His writing must finally be published, he wants a transfer into editorial, and Margaret must kneel and beg him to marry her.
You heard me. On your knee.
Though humiliated, she's too desperate to refuse and swallows her pride to do it.
Does this work for you?
Oh, I
Is
like
good?
this, yeah.
Okay, good.
Andrew and Margaret fly to Alaska to meet his family, and on the plane, Margaret assumes he comes from a poor background, insisting she'll stay at a hotel and coaching him to lie during their immigration interview. When they arrive, his mother and grandmother greet them, and Margaret begins noticing the Paxton name everywhere. She still believes the family is struggling, until a boat ride takes them to a massive mansion on a private island owned by Andrew's family. She realizes the town's major businesses, hospital, and even airport belong to them. They're welcomed with a huge celebration, leaving Margaret stunned. When she asks why he hid his wealth, Andrew insists it has nothing to do with his work life. Tension mounts when his ex-girlfriend shows up and he introduces her, making things awkward. Moments later, his mother excitedly asks him to describe his proposal. Forced to improvise, Andrew and Margaret invent a story, but their clashing details turn into bickering that nearly exposes their fake relationship. After their shaky proposal story, the family demands a kiss.
Give her a kiss!
No, come on.
Andrew tries to dodge it with a hand kiss, but the crowd forces a real one, making things painfully awkward. In their room, he sleeps on the floor, and the next morning Margaret loses her phone while rescuing the family dog from an eagle. Andrew promises to replace it and hugs her to keep up appearances when his family spies on them. Later, his father again pressures him to take over the family business, reigniting their long-running conflict. That night, at a wild bachelorette party, Margaret steps outside for air and runs into Andrew's ex, who warmly reminisces about their past,
Well, I mean, we dated in high school and...
leaving Margaret quietly jealous. Back home, Andrew vents his frustration by chopping wood after another fight with his father, and his mother defends Andrew's right to choose his own future. A late-night conversation follows, where Andrew reveals he's dreamed of being an editor since childhood, and Margaret shares her lonely immigrant struggle and how it shaped her harsh exterior. Andrew begins to see the vulnerability she hides beneath her toughness. The next morning, loud knocking jolts them awake, and Margaret hurriedly pulls Andrew close before the family storms in. Without warning, Andrew's grandmother excitedly announces she wants the wedding moved to the next day, her birthday.
Oh, it would be a dream come true for
The pair are stunned and try to object, but she refuses to take no for an answer. Overwhelmed and cornered, they reluctantly agree, while Andrew's mother assures them the family will handle every detail. After the family leaves, Andrew spirals, terrified they've pushed the fake relationship too far. If they marry and divorce a month later, he fears the shock could destroy his grandmother. Please subscribe to the channel before watching ahead. Later, she rides a bike to clear her head, but only replays the moment. In the woods, she stumbles upon Andrew's grandmother performing a ritual for good luck and awkwardly joins in, humiliating herself mid-dance, right as Andrew arrives to take her to buy a new phone. At an internet cafe, while answering work emails, Margaret spots Andrew chatting with his ex outside and feels a sharp stab of jealousy, finally admitting to herself she's falling for him. On the way back, Andrew's mother and grandmother pull Margaret aside and bring her to a closed boutique. There, his grandmother reveals the wedding dress Margaret is trying on is her own,
I happened to be knocked up when I wore this.
and gifts her a treasured Paxton family necklace meant for Andrew's future wife. Overwhelmed by the gesture, Margaret is deeply moved. After years of living alone and fighting for survival, she feels the warmth of belonging to a family for the first time as she steps back onto the boat. On the boat ride back, Margaret suddenly speeds off and blurts out that she can't continue the lie. She refuses to break the hearts of a family that welcomed her so warmly. When she lets go of the wheel mid-panic, the boat jerks sharply and throws her overboard.
Margaret!
Andrew dives after her and pulls her back, shaken and terrified of losing her.
Come on. Come on.
At home, Andrew's father summons them to a warehouse where an immigration officer is waiting.
Told you I'd check up on you.
Their secret is exposed. Pressured to confess or face jail, Andrew finally explodes, accusing his father of meddling in his life. Instead of denying it, he declares he loves Margaret and vows to marry her no matter the consequences. That night, they sleep in separate rooms before the ceremony, both unable to rest. Andrew realizes his confession came from the heart, but fears Margaret doesn't feel the same. The next day, the wedding begins with the entire family and the immigration officer watching. Just as they're about to exchange vows, Margaret stops the ceremony and admits the marriage was staged.
I forced Andrew here to marry me.
Overcome by the family's kindness, she refuses to lie anymore and publicly confesses everything, insisting the scheme was her idea and that Andrew was only involved because she threatened his job. After confessing, Margaret flees. Andrew searches for her and finds only the wedding dress, his unpublished manuscript, and a letter apologizing for holding back his work. She admits she kept it buried because she couldn't afford to lose him as her assistant, but promises to publish it before she's deported.
I'll make sure we buy this before I leave.
His ex urges him to chase her, but as he tries to leave, his father blocks him and their argument forces Andrew's grandmother into a heart attack.
Mom?
Heart attack!
On the medical flight, she weakly begs father and son to respect each other. They reconcile just as she suddenly remembers Margaret and orders the pilot to reroute to the airport. Andrew calls in a desperate favor to stop the departing plane, but he's seconds too late. The next day, Margaret packs her office when Andrew bursts in, breathless. He tells her she can't disappear after turning his life upside down, after the chaos, the fake wedding, and breaking his heart. Then he admits the truth. He loves her.
The woman I love is about to be kicked out of the country.
And demands she take responsibility for making him fall for her. In front of everyone, he proposes for real.
Because I'd like to date you.
Margaret accepts instantly, and they kiss as the office erupts. Days later, they return to immigration to reapply. Though still annoyed by their deception, the officer grants them a second chance under one condition: no more lies. This time, their marriage is approved. Thanks for watching. Share this with your friends who love movie stories.